You know, we're going to play a really good football team this weekend. You know, I followed Coach Stoops at Florida State, so I know firsthand what his teams are all about. Going to be very well coached, hard-nosed. He does a fantastic job evaluating talent. They have a lot of experience. I think they start 15 seniors. You can see it on both sides of the ball. They're tough. They're physical. They can run the football offensively. They have a very athletic quarterback. Seems like some of these guys have been playing for forever. And they got playmakers on the outside. They're very multiple. Defensively, you know, sound, stop the run, really good in the red area, give you multiple looks. They've got good pass rushers, got good guys out on the edges that can deny the ball. Special teams, they give you multiple looks, got good returners, and punter does an outstanding job. So we'll have to be at our best and be a tremendous challenge for us.
Just after looking on film, anything you noticed about what was holding you back in the running game that maybe you didn't see Saturday? And also, what's the health situation of your running backs coming out of that game now? I know Chandler didn't play a whole lot.
Yeah, well, we didn't block very well. We basically got whipped at the point of attack. Had some mental errors that we haven't been having for quite some time. You got free guys in the hole, kind of get you before you get going. So, you know, I'd say probably the health of our running backs is probably like everybody else. It's November. Everybody has bumps and bruises, and all our guys will be ready to play.
How would you kind of describe what you've seen from Allante this year, and what do you kind of see in the future for him?
Well, he's a guy that has really good athletic ability. You know, he don't have a whole lot of experience playing defensive back, so has a lot to learn. He's very willing. He's tries to be a physical guy. He can run. So he's going to get better the more he plays and gets more comfortable with the position.
Jeremy, how good is Benny Snell?
You know, he's a tough guy. They do a lot with him. You know, lots of wildcat. So he obviously can handle what they do. I know they used him a lot as a freshman. It's the last time I coached against him. He was a freshman, and you know, he's very physical. He doesn't take a lot of one-on-one hits. He's you know, he runs through the soft shoulder, so it's tough to get him squared up. We'll have to do a really good job of gang tackling him.
Jeremy, during your years in and around the SEC, how have you seen Kentucky's program evolve?
Well, you know, you see, I think right now, and they're too deep, there's probably over 30 guys, maybe 35 guys that have been there for 3 or 4 years. So they've been in the system. They understand it. It's obvious they have a lot of experience. They've been in close games. They've found a way to win. They've won on the road. They've won at places it's tough to win at, and you can see that. You see it in how they play. There's not a lot of mistakes that they make. They make you earn everything that you get. Not a lot of errors on the offensive side. So we need to play really well.
Georgia ran very well against Kentucky last week, but before then they were playing really good run defense, Kentucky. I'm just wondering on tape, what sticks out about Kentucky's run defense that makes them as effective as they've been?
Well, they give you a bunch of different looks. You know, again, they're sound. They have a lot of experience. They play hard. They're good tacklers, and they can play man-to-man in the back end and force you to throw the football.
Have you talked to the team at all about voting this week, and what's your message there?
No, I have not.
Jimmy?
You had not seen the targeting on Allante Taylor after the game, I don't think. Your thoughts after looking at it on film?
Well, it definitely was a head-to-head lick, you know, and the kind of the problem with the whole rule is, you know, it's not a problem. I mean, again, I said it the other day, it's about protecting our game, but when Allante is going to hit the guy, his aiming point is about at the guy's waist once he gets committed to making the tackle, and then the guy slides at the last moment, so it ends up being a head-to-head. I don't think Allante could change. There was never an intent to take a shot at a defenseless guy, so it just makes it tough on coaching defenders. We've had 2 guys that have been ejected for targeting, and both of them were runners with the ball. It wasn't like it was defenseless wide receivers, quarterbacks, and it's kind of what I was talking about the other day. It's just the intent of the rule is to protect the game, but I also think at times it's tough on defenders on the aiming point. I think since we started having the targeting rule, I can remember one guy that I've coached that had been thrown out of a game, and he was actually playing the ball, but he ended up hitting a guy head-to-head. So we've really been very conscious of it, of trying to coach our guys to play the right way. And, that's a little bit of the frustration is, you have guys that get knocked out of games, and, you want to do a better job as a coach, and that's kind of what I said the other day. It would be great if we could kind of get an idea of exactly what's going to be called, what's not, and just so we can coach it and continue to have a really good game that we have.
Coach, can you just update us on Trayvon Flowers and Micah Abernathy and where they're at with their comeback from injury?
Yeah, I think Trayvon started doing some things last week, and he'll continue this week. He'll probably be a game day decision. Micah's going to start practicing this week, so we'll just see how he goes.
Jeremy, I think 3 plays in the last 2 games of 20 yards or more. You talked about the explosive plays after the win against Charlotte. Going into this week's of practice, how much of a priority is that to see more big plays on offense?
Well, I think big plays come when you execute at a high level. It's not like that you go into a game and say, hey, we've got this X amount of plays that we think that are going to be there. You kind of have your offense that you're running, and if you execute it, it presents itself. And probably, 2 weeks ago, we had a couple of chances that really were there, and we had breakdowns in protections, and then this past week, probably the same thing.
Other questions for Coach? In the back, Caleb? Frame of Mike in the back, then Patrick.
Hey, Coach, it seemed like on Saturday there was, even with little productivity, still a certain emphasis on the run game. What was the reasoning behind keeping it so balanced as opposed to going maybe pass heavy?
Well, it's hard to win in this league if you can't run the football, or any league. So, you got to be committed to it, and we've got to find a way to get it done. I know as a defensive coach, when you're coaching D linemen, if they're going to pass it every snap, those guys can turn loose and go, and it really puts your offensive line at a disadvantage. So you've got to be able to run the football to some degree.
Jeremy, I think you guys gave up less than 250 yards, 3 points on Saturday. What did you like about the defensive performance overall? What did you see areas that need to get better? How did you think your guys sort of responded after the South Carolina game?
Well, we limited explosive plays, probably tackled a little better, but we still have lots of ways that we need to improve, and I think our guys will work hard this week to do that.
Made a couple changes in the second half at the offensive tackle positions. How much will you look at that and consider maybe switching things up there this week?
Well, to me, it's like I said before, it's about how you produce, and if we're not getting a whole lot of production, then why are we not getting production? And you try to fix some areas. So, you know what, we're going to play the guys that give us the best chance to win and to be productive, and we'll do that again this week.
What's been your message to the offensive line the last few weeks when you've talked to them, and also watching the game? Were there any things that stood out to you that you didn't notice during the game?
Well, I think the message to our entire team is we want to go out there every day and try to improve every snap, take it one snap at a time. And, you know, I think our guys have worked really hard to do that. But again, I've said before, and I've said to the team, you know, how you play on Saturdays is how you're remembered. It's not how you play on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But to play good on Saturdays, you need to practice well, prepare well. But we had too many mistakes Saturday, which kind of went back to early in the year. You know, guys blocking the wrong folks. So it's hard to have success when you do that.
Jeremy, I think Josh Allen for Kentucky was the guy who spent his first 3 years of high school at Alabama before he moved up to New Jersey, and I think he may have been a wide receiver then. Was he someone who was on your radar at all recruiting that state, or was he just a guy who kind of moved to New Jersey and then blossomed a little later?
You know, I think when Josh went to Kentucky, I think I was actually at Georgia at the time. So, no, I remember when he came out. But, again, it's a very good job by Mark and his staff, evaling and finding the right guys and that can develop and play in their system.
Coach, when you look at the Kentucky-Georgia game this past weekend, the way Georgia was able to expose Kentucky in ways that other teams haven't, what was Georgia able to do in order to do that?
Well, Georgia's got a really good football team. They won the East already. I guess we're in, week 8 or 9. So they got a good football team. And they made some plays and made a few more than Kentucky.
Any other questions for Coach?
You kind of mentioned right there about Georgia winning the East already, Alabama doing the same. Does it surprise you big picture, you know, where the SEC is with these two teams, you know, kind of being the top dog so early?
Well, I think, you know, it is what it is. They played everybody on their schedule and they beat everybody. So they're the champions.
Jeremy, would you evaluate the season that Kyle Phillips has had his senior year?
You know, Kyle's worked really hard. He's a guy that practices hard every day. He's got some good toughness to him. He's got instincts, and he plays with a good motor. So he's doing a good job for us.
Any other questions for Coach? Last one, Patrick in the back.
Jeremy, it seems like you guys have done a pretty good job on the punt team this year, holding teams to, I think, just 1 yard in punt return yardage the entire year. What do you think has contributed to the success there?
Well, I think Coach Kelly has done a really good job mixing up our looks. You know, if you're going to be good on the punt team, it starts with a snap and the operation. So we've been good there. You know, so we've placed the ball, so we give people multiple looks, and we'll have another challenge this week. So we'll have to do a good job.